Hosting Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida for a state visit, President Biden announced a ramped-up level of defense and intelligence cooperation with the key Indo-Pacific ally. The historic upgrade of the alliance aims to send a message to Communist China. Following an elaborate arrival ceremony and a meeting at the Oval Office,
our alliance has never been stronger in our entire history.
And President Biden announced his actions to bolster U.S.-Japan military ties, speaking at a joint press conference with Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida.
I'm also pleased to announce that for the first time, Japan and the United States and Australia will create a network system of air, missile, and defense architecture. We're also looking forward to standing up a trilateral military exercise with Japan and the United Kingdom.
And Biden also says that AUKUS, a security pact among Australia, the UK, and the US, is exploring ways for Japan to join. The closer ties come amid growing aggression from Communist China, especially in the Pacific. Here's Biden praising Japan for standing with the US in that region.
Standing strong with the United States as we stand up for freedom of navigation, including in the South China Sea, and as we maintain peace and stability across the Taiwan Straits.
On Thursday, Biden and Kishida will be joined by the Philippines leader for the first trilateral summit among the three countries. The Biden administration says it's seeking to flip the script and counter China's efforts to isolate U.S. allies like the Philippines and Japan. The U.S. relationship with Japan is strong and growing only stronger, and that's according to Nebraska Congressman Adrian Smith, co-chair of the U.S.-Japan Congressional Caucus. He spoke with NTD News about the Japanese state visit and also what stronger U.S.-Japan ties would mean to regional security. And Congressman Adrian Smith, it's great to have you on.
Thank you. It's great to be with you.
So, Congressman, you are a member of the U.S.-Japan Congressional Caucus. The White House today announced a major upgrade to the U.S.-Japan alliance, both in terms of technology and military. Do you expect this will mean that Japan taking a leading role in deterring and countering China in the Asian-Pacific region, and what changes might this bring?
Well, I'm excited that the Prime Minister will be here in Washington to address a joint session of Congress in the building, the Capitol building, the House chamber. You know, I believe that our Capitol building is the most iconic architecture as it relates to freedom and opportunity. And our relationship with Japan is absolutely vital, especially given the neighborhood that they face every day with China, with North Korea, with Russia, adversaries seeking to undermine freedom and opportunity in any country they can, and Japan is certainly front and center right there.
Like you mentioned, one of the major messages that Prime Minister Kishida will bring to Congress is that U.S. presence is still very much needed and important in the Indo-Pacific region. And given all the global conflicts happening at the moment, what role should the U.S. play in the Indo-Pacific, and why does it matter?
Well, I respect Japan's increase in their own spending in terms of defense. I think that's a good sign that they don't look to us as the sole defender for them. And I realize that our leadership is important around the world. We want to be judicious about this. We want to certainly have expectations as Japan is delivering that they are willing to really invest in their own defense. That is a key item that I think we can build on and expect a stronger relationship with them moving forward.
We have seen President Biden actually opposing the deal for Nippon to take over U.S. Steel. Do you think that disagreement here could potentially impact the U.S.-Japan relationship, even given the meeting happening today?
Well, I think there will be issues that come up that I think we can work through. But when you look at the low priority that trade has become in the Biden administration, for example, President Biden hasn't even said a word about Mexico shutting out our U.S. biotech corn. The president has had exactly nothing to say about this. That is inexcusable, and we need to do better. We cannot just give countries a pass for undermining very important trade policy, a rules-based trade that is important to leveling the playing field.
And Congressman Adrian Smith, thank you so much for your insights.
Thank you.
The House has voted against a rule to allow debate on the bill to reauthorize the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, or FISA. Our Washington correspondent Luis Martinez has more on this story.
Wednesday's rule vote was the third attempt by the House of Representatives to renew the surveillance powers that expire on April 19th. The Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act allows the intelligence community to surveil communications of foreign nationals outside of the U.S., even if those communications are with U.S. citizens.
702 allows us to stay a step ahead of foreign actors located outside the United States who pose a threat to our national security.
Look, I think personally, I think there are real civil liberties concerns, and I think that Americans generally want to know that they have privacy rights. If there are national security concerns, there should be a warrant process that is actually fair and done in a way that's responsible.
Speaker Mike Johnson has urged his Republican colleagues to vote in favor of the reauthorization of the FISA Act. The bill, as it currently stands, has 56 amendments that would further regulate intelligence gathering compared to the previous FISA reauthorization.
These reforms would actually kill the abuses that allowed President Trump's campaign to be spied on.
That FISA is needed. I understand. I believe that there are safeguards, and I trust the chairman of that committee that he put the safeguards in so that what happened to President Trump won't happen to any other American.
On a post on Truth Social, former President Donald Trump urged House Republicans to kill FISA. The former president has alleged that the Surveillance Act was used illegally to spy on his campaign. Representative Majorie Taylor Greene, the Republican from Georgia, posted on X on Wednesday saying that, and I quote, "Johnson already fully funded the DOJ that wants a death sentence for Trump. Is he going to continue to give the deep state the tools to kill Trump?" Remember, Representative Majorie Taylor Greene submitted a motion to oust Speaker Johnson over 2 weeks ago. On Tuesday, she sent a letter to House Republicans urging them to support that motion. And on Wednesday, she reiterated her calls to House Republicans to oust Speaker Johnson.
But it's pretty clear and obvious and being whispered among the conference. Mike Johnson does not have the support of the conference.
Wednesday's vote marks the sixth time Speaker Johnson has lost a rule vote on the House floor. It is expected that the bill will be reintroduced under suspension of the rules this Friday. Reporting from Washington, D.C., Luis Eduardo Martinez, NTD News.
House Speaker Mike Johnson met with Republican Congresswoman Majorie Taylor Greene, who has introduced a motion to vacate his speakership. Here's what Johnson said when asked about Greene earlier today.
With regard to Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's a colleague. I've always considered her a friend. Marjorie and I don't disagree, I don't think, on any matter of philosophy. We're both conservatives, but we do disagree sometimes on strategy and with regard to what we put on the floor and when and those things. Marjorie is frustrated by the last appropriations package, the spending bills, and you know what? So am I.
There's two issues that are coming up that are extremely important: FISA and Ukraine. We are not responsible for a war in Ukraine. We're responsible for the war on our border, and I made that clear to Speaker Johnson.
And Greene says she takes issue with how Johnson handled the recent funding bills and the FISA reauthorization currently before the House. Greene added after the meeting that Johnson made, quote, a lot of excuses and that the speaker gave her no guarantees on how he would proceed on these two issues. This is the first time the two met face to face since Greene began her efforts to unseat Johnson as Speaker of the House. Johnson, meanwhile, defended his leadership and said that the motion to vacate would bring chaos to the House.
Thank you for watching the Capitol Report. If you want to see our full broadcast, check us out at epochtv.com.